Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Chair Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. You become better for not only you, but the people you love and care about most. You gotta be a little uncomfortable and take that leap of faith. You're in control of the process. I'm here with you. If we don't continue to grow, if we don't continue to move on, we will be sad and upset. So this morning, kind of getting back into the swing of things, I like to use vacations and right after vacations. I'm kind of in this golden glow state, a little bit of this. I'm excited to get back to work. I'm excited to be back at home. I'm very grateful for the things that I have in my life. Hopefully you feel the same, or we can get to a point to where we have the things to make us truly appreciate it. But I've been doing over vacation, doing some more exercises. And this is actually a shout out to one of my really good buddies, one of my best friends, who he's really good with the reflection and doing journaling work and stuff like that. And we're kind of talking about this program that he's been doing. And this is actually a program from Jordan Peterson. So this is credit to him. This is kind of my own spin-off of one of the exercises that you kind of do in the reflection process that I thought was really helpful. So I'm going to kind of tweak it a little bit to what I think is really helpful and what I think can be helpful to you today. Say if you want to do a reflection exercise, you want to just kind of get the ball rolling, you want to understand yourself a little bit better. I think this framework is really, really helpful and useful. Let's go ahead and we can just write out what we want to write out here on the board. I'm going to break off a piece from my shot. We're already on episode 312. And so this is a reflection exercise. So essentially, we're trying to get the meat and potatoes. We're trying to better understand our past, our present, and our future, because it's interesting. We all kind of live in these different parts of our mental space. The goal, I believe, is to live in the present moment as much as possible. But I think that can be very difficult when we don't heal the younger version of ourselves in the past, and we don't create some type of plan going into the future. These are some reflection questions that you can keep, you can take, you can use whenever, and kind of think on this timeline. So this is our timeline of our life. And we have the past version of ourselves. We have the present. And we have the future. And this is the goal state that we want to live in. We want to live in the present moment as much as possible. That is our goal here. That is why we do these exercises, because pain cannot survive when we are completely focused in this present moment. Shout out to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written, in my opinion. But the present moment is the sweet spot. When you think of all of the great things that go on in your life and the options and the abilities that you have, it is usually because you're focused in the present moment. When do people feel most alive? They're on stage, they're in front, they're doing the rock concert, they're locked into the present moment. Maybe you're a big sports fan and you're watching a football game, and they say, what was the best part about it? They're locked in, they're into the present moment. Whether you're going on vacation, you're climbing a mountain, or you're going on vacation, you're hitting golf balls with your best friends. Being in the present moment seems to be where the best is absolutely at. Maybe you're paying attention to your family, your kids, or whatever. Planning for the future can cause us to worry. It causes a lot of anxiety. It causes us to not know the unknown. Uncertainty can be very stressful for human beings. So that's why we need some type of a plan. We need some type of a plan in the future. And in the past, we need to heal our wounds. We need to be able to support ourselves. So we need to heal ourselves from the past, maybe a younger version of ourselves. I had some issues with my dad growing up, and then kind of moving forward, kind of having some more trust issues when I'm meeting other people, maybe older men specifically, and how that worked for me. And then how does that relate to healing myself, to giving myself permission to do what I really want to do in the future. So I just wanted to lay out this little framework right here, because this is where because as you're never going to run a marathon. I love this analogy. I say it all the time. You're going to hear a million more times. I'm never going to run a marathon in 0 minutes and 0 seconds. Am I going to live in the present moment all the time? No. So there's going to be different versions of ourselves. We're going to be living in the future, like we're setting goals and we're thinking about what we want in our lives. What do we really want in our lives? Who's included in that? Material objects, traveling opportunities. And additionally, I'll be reminiscing on things in the past, looking at awesome photos from past trips, getting nostalgia that way. I have an anniversary coming up with my amazing girlfriend. We're looking at some of the photos from the past and laughing and being really excited about that. So there's times for that, but those are different versions of ourselves. The aim is to be here as much as possible, and then in a healthy way, being in the future or being in the past. But unfortunately, what happens more often than not, people are like, oh, I don't have everything I absolutely want. I'm on the wrong path. I'm never going to get there. Or in the past, I was never good enough. I was always bad at things. I'm a piece of crap. I'm trying to cuss less for the YouTube algorithm or yada yada. Anyway, so healing from the past, and you can see how with the wrong lens and with a negative context, it can be really tough to enjoy all the versions of ourselves of where we're living, because whether you like it or not, we're probably going to be unless you're a Buddhist monk and you meditate 8 hours a day, you're probably going to bounce around to the future and to the past. And we're trying to figure out ways to help heal and improve our performance. So this is kind of the actual writing exercise now that we can get to it. I got up on my banners. Good morning. Good morning. Is everyone having a good morning this morning? I hope you're having a great morning. So this is the first exercise. The first part of it, you're going to write a story. So you're going to think of a specific problem in your life, a fault that you have, something that is wrong in general. So you're going to write a story about that specific issue. And I'll give an example to hopefully give some more context. So writing a story. Okay, so write a story or experience. So maybe it could be you have a trait of letting your fears stop you from doing what it is you want to be doing. I have a fear that I'm not going to be good enough and that people will reject me. So I've always naturally struggled with just reaching out and doing a lot of sales. For some reason, it doesn't mind me to come on here and do videos. I think it's because I've done a lot of it, and nobody's good at anything they don't do a lot. We just like to remember that. But writing out a story, so I want you to write out a story about a bad experience that you've had, or a story about a quality of yourself, of your life. Say if you're letting your fear stop you from doing what it is that you want to be doing. Say if you always procrastinate things. I want you to think of a trait that you no longer want. A problem. Go ahead and think of problem. So a problem that you no longer want to have. So whether you procrastinate things, you don't work out, or whatever it is. And then I want you to write out a story of a negative experience that relates directly to that. So you're writing out a story. So for me, I had a story I was reaching out to a real estate agent, and I was trying to sell him my course. And he called me a bunch of names, and he said that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that I was a piece of crap. And for some reason, it just felt like somebody literally shot me with a gun. And you're writing out the story of that and just describing how you feel, what's going on, and just trying to get as much detail into the story as much as possible. And that's the first step. Just getting the story out. Because the stories that we tell ourselves control our emotions, and the emotions control what we're willing and not willing to take action on. Very, very important. So we need to be able to create a new relationship, a new understanding with the story of the past. Because if the story of the past is negative and we have not taken the time to try and heal ourselves, it's going to hold us, keep us up from being able to do what it is that we really want to be doing. And that's reaching out to more people and trying to help them. I know that I'm trying to help people. I know my intentions. I know my convictions. and I need to build that relationship with myself. So I actually am willing to put myself out there and try and do my best. So on to the second part. So first, you're going to write out a story of the experience, whatever story, whatever's not going right in your life. You're writing out a story of what happened. You're just explaining it out. Just write out the story. How do you feel? Emotions involved. What was around you? Try and get as many details. Good practice for writing. So writing a story or experience, that is a problem you want to get rid of. On to number 2. So write down what you would do differently. What would you do differently to reduce and to not have this happen again? We're not going to run that marathon in 0 minutes and 0 seconds. We're trying to reduce the friction. We're trying to reduce the pain. We're trying to reduce the suffering so we can improve the quality of our life. So next thing, what would you do differently? What would you do differently? Maybe you would for me, I would have prepared a sales script. I would have practiced and role played with a coach. I would have reached out to somebody to tell them about the negative experience. So you can think of how you can start writing out things that you would have done differently in that situation to help mitigate the negative experience. Incredible. It's genius, really. So what would you do differently moving forward to try and change the experience? Or what would you have done differently in the past? So you're trying to think of, in this part, think of in the past context, what would you have done differently? Would you have just given yourself permission to be able to do this? Would you give yourself permission to understand that you just haven't done this 10,000 times, so you're not an expert yet? Whatever it may be. On to the next part number 3. And then write out what you will work on to prevent or reduce the negative experience. What will you work on? What will you work on moving forward? So you just wrote out a bunch of stuff of what you would have done differently in the past in order now to help understand the future. And then the last piece is we're trying to write out what we will work on. What will we work on? Okay, what will we work on? Last part number 3. All right, we filled the whole board. Good. Look good. So what will we work on moving forward? So this is more future-based. So to reduce the experience, what's the definition of insanity? Is you do something and then you do it again expecting different results. I think that's really common with personal development and us suffering from past experiences and suffering from future experiences. I think this is where insanity comes into play with humans more than anything else in the world. I truly believe that, because think about how many times, so you got something coming up, think of how many times you worry about that one thing. You just worry about it 10,000 times over the next month before it even happens, and then it happens and it's not even that bad. So we spent so much time suffering in the future, even though we absolutely didn't need to. Or something in the past that's happened in the past, and we continue to hold on to this, and it affects our next decision. It affects our next decision. It affects our next decision. And then we sit there and we think, how could this happen to me? Why do I always do this? And then so we continue to do the same things, but we just expect things to change and we get a different result. Unfortunately, not the case. We have to put in the work. We have to put in this work on this fine Monday morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this morning. So let's go ahead and we're going to run through this really quick for my video editor. But this is the coaching exercise, the 3 pieces that you're kind of writing out and you're trying to work on. Remember, we're trying to think in the parts. These are the 3 different versions of ourselves that we live in, the different states. We have the present moment. This is the golden key. This is where we want to be at as much as possible. We have future. This is where our planning comes in. And but we want to make sure that we don't get caught up worrying about the future, huge suffering point. The past, we want to heal ourselves and forgive ourselves and give our permissions to understand that was our life and we lived that life and we heal ourselves from the past. And then having those 2 figured out, I think can really help with living in the present moment. Thanks for checking out our content. If you want to learn more about investing in yourselves and working with me and our company personally, we offer a 6-week Total Life Mastery Bootcamp where we go over the most important topics to make sure that our life has the foundation we need to catapult us forward to take the right and proper actions to become happier and more productive, guaranteed, or our money back.